a game that had everything. You had to dig deep as well, but top of the league tonight. You must be delighted how your players have responded.
I was delighted with the attitude and the mentality of the players, because at half time, having gone in front twice, find yourself level, and I could say through no fault of our own, but we weren't getting second balls, we weren't getting into the thick of it, and I think it was down to the environment more than anything else. I think they were a tough unit at home. We know what the surface is like, and you've got to play the conditions, and then you've got to play against the supporters who are vociferous, and they're entitled to be. So it was a real test of character, and I tried to, many a time I would have lost that game as a coach, as a manager, as a player, because of the emotional control side of things. Straight away you're in the thick of the battle and you've lost your head, and next thing you know you've lost the game. But I asked the players for control at half time, and my word, they didn't have provided, because it was muck and nettles, it was in the thick of things. You're never going to get anything free of charge at Scarborough, and it was a tough old gig, but we've come out of it with a lot of plaudits from the character side of the game, as opposed to the good footballing team which we've been obviously acclaimed in many times before this.
Particularly character when you've got a 5-hour coach trip up here. It's a long old trip, isn't it? And these players come off the pitch and then they have to perform.
Yeah, very much so.
Would you make that as an excuse, or is it an issue? Is it an issue?
I don't think it's an issue at all. I think we've got a budget that caters for one overnight stay this season, and we just try to work out how far we're in the pecking order in terms of distance travelled to Scarborough fit in. I think they're in the top 4 alongside Darlington, Spennymoor and South Shields. So my neck of the woods here. So I know my way around the place. But having said that, it's my first time in Scarborough. Not just as a holiday resort or anything like that. First time I've been to the ground. First time I've come up against Jonathan, and I think his team were certainly played with a lot of pride. They were certainly battling for the shirt. And I think at times you get lost in the physicality side of the game, and your technical players tend to get sort of lost to a certain extent, and that's the last thing you need. When you've got a technical player, you've got to play to their strengths, and unfortunately, fortunately for us, we nullified their strengths and eventually won the game. And don't get me wrong, we played in a flat back 4 at the start of the season and won 4 out of the first 5 games. But we were coming to Marine on Saturday, all prepared, and I named a team on Friday. Next thing you know, the game's cancelled. It would have been very harsh for to change the side, but I decided to stay with the same team, even though it was Scarborough and a different tactic. But it paid off. The second half changes paid off, and I've got a happy change room down there.
I must be delighted all your front 3 players scored, and he's there again. Hat-trick hero Hemmings gets you the winner in the end.
You've rattled that one off. Hat-trick hero Hemmings. Him and Amari have formulated quite a relationship over the last 3 or 4 years. Nothing to do with me. I'm getting the benefit of that at the moment. But Amari being injured last week, and then he saw his strike partner take his shirt and then take the match ball as well. He was desperate to play on Saturday. The game was cancelled. He's desperate to play tonight and show everybody what he can do, regardless of whether he's carrying a broken rib or whether he's carrying a bust heart. Amari doesn't matter what the surface is or the conditions. He'll get out there and put his all in. He's got himself a goal himself, and then equalised. He made the equaliser, shall I say, the 2-2, and consequently he made the winner for his striking partner, who's now head of the racing ranks at the moment.
It was a game of high tension, that's fair to say, isn't it? Both sets of players already went for it, but there was a moment of controversy. Your opposite manager, Jonathan Greening, with a straight red card. I know he got yellow in the first half, but it was straight red. How did you see that incident? What happened down there?
I thought one of his backroom staff got the yellow card, if truth be known, and then when Jonathan got the red card, I think it was a coming together of 2 or 3 players and managers and coaches get involved, and the highlight of it all, the one thing about Jonathan is he's about 6'2", 6'3", so he stood out like a sore thumb, especially with that bubble hat. I was ducking down for cover, but getting amongst it still. But now you got, unfortunately, you get pilloried to a certain extent. You get identified as a manager, and we know we should do better, or we should be better. But hold on a second, what am I saying here? It's nice to be involved with that kind of fracas, shall we say, because everybody's fighting for the same cause, and they're fighting for a throw-in. Basically, you're looking for a throw-in. Now, 2 sides going at it. I would say 2 dugouts going at it as well. Tough night for the referee, but I think he managed it and handled himself impeccably in the end.
Okay. Cam Candola wasn't in the squad. What's his situation then?
Cam was unfortunately pulled out with an injury, and he wasn't going to play on Saturday, and consequently when the game was cancelled I thought possibly might be a little bit too early playing the game tonight. I'm hoping and fingers crossed, praying that he'll be okay for Saturday against Warrington, which gives me a headache straight away, you know. But I thought Paul Downing tonight, in the face of adversity, 6'6" striker in their face every time with the ball coming at you, you know, with snow on it. I thought PD defended for his life in the second half and consequently got the clean sheet in the second half. I got us with 3 points.
Warrington at home Saturday. You go in that game top of the league. What difference does that make psychologically to players? I'm sure they'll be bouncing on the 5-hour trip on the trip back to Kidderminster tonight.
I don't think it makes too much of a difference in my opinion because, you know, as I didn't know before I arrived that Kidderminster were one of the top non-league sides in the history of the game. You know, well renowned for the size of the club and the investment, etc., etc. The target was already on your back, you know, regardless of whether you're in the National League or the National League North or South. Consequently, you go top of the league, okay, people say the target gets bigger. At the end of the day, you've got to be able to handle that, and I thought that's what you showed tonight.